Yeah, welcome back to my channel. So today I thought I'd do a bit of a where I've come from video, because I realised I've started doing these videos and nobody really knows, put that way, nobody really knows my story or where I come from, or I haven't really talked about why I started Slimming World. So I thought I'd give that a go today. So, I guess let's start at the beginning. Before I start though, I should just apologise. I am sunburnt. Wear your sun cream, guys. This is from work, because I work with children, and this is literally from being outside for an hour. Slapped the sun cream on all the children. Didn't put any on myself. Silly Emma. Never mind. Anyway, so yes. Let's start at the very beginning. So, Slimming World is something I never ever thought I would do. I never thought it would be something that would be for me. Growing up, I danced for at least 3 hours a week. Yeah, there was a lot. I was like size 8 to 10 at my heaviest as a child growing up. Was accused quite often of being anorexic and bulimic. I ate like a pig. I ate all sorts of crap. Donuts for lunch, anything and everything I could get my hands on, I ate it. So then left school, went to college, started to put on a little tiny bit of weight because, again, I was eating crap, but I'd stopped the dance because I couldn't get there with college times and everything, and my education and future jobs were just a little bit more important. Kind of regret giving it up now, but hey ho, life goes on. So I was at college, did my level 3 in childcare, and again, was just eating crap a lot of the time. I think college is when I started the slippery road of comfort eating. Yeah, I think a lot of us have been there, comfort eaters. It's not a great route to go down, if we're honest, but yeah. So I started comfort eating. I was a little bit lonely at college, didn't have many friends there. I don't really keep in contact with any of them now. I mean, they're on Facebook and whatnot, but I don't chat to them. I don't keep up to date with any of them. So then came out of college, started work. At this point, I was a size 12, bordering on a size 14. But for the first time in my life, I had curves. I'd always been a stick, literally. There was no curves anywhere. It was horrendous. I was literally. So for the first time I had curves, and I was actually quite happy with my body. And of course started putting on a bit of weight. Mum freaked out slightly because she never wanted me to end up in the same boat as her. It was always yo-yo dieting. So kind of tried to nip it in the bud, and we went to Weight Watchers together. I know, shh, swear word. And, you know, we're talking like, how many years ago is that? It's 19. I'm 26 now. Almost. That's 9, 10, 11, 12. So 7 years ago? About 7 years ago. To be totally honest, left Weight Watchers after about 8 weeks. Heavier than when I started. I didn't get on with counting points. Like, yeah, you can eat all the potato you want, but at that time, I know it's changed a lot now, but at that time, like, pasta, I live off pasta, and pasta was pointed. I had to point it, I had to measure it. I couldn't do it. I hated it. So, yeah, I gave that up pretty darn quick. And then, I started to get ill. I got I know this old sob story. I got a bowel infection, Campylobacter enteritis, which is horrendous. I do not wish it on my worst enemy. It was awful. Took some antibiotics, started to go away, then came straight back again, went back to the doctors, had a few tests, and they diagnosed me with ulcerative colitis. Those that don't know, ulcerative colitis is a disease of the bowel. So the bowel is inflamed, ulcerated. It's under the umbrella of inflammatory bowel disease, which is also what Crohn's comes under. So if you know about Crohn's disease, main differences between colitis and Crohn's is whereas Crohn's affects the entire digestive tract, i.e. entrance to exit. Colitis affects mainly the large intestine, sometimes the small intestine too. So yeah, so I've got it in my large intestine. It's pretty much my whole intestine that's affected. Whole large intestine that's affected. Yeah, so they started me on some anti-inflammatories, and then after all the official tests and everything had gone through, and it had all gone through the consultant, started me on steroids. We don't like steroids. It's a drug called prednisolone. Anyone who has ever taken any sort of steroid for medical use probably knows just how horrendous they are. In the space of 6 months, I piled on 3 stone within the first few weeks of being on these steroids. Yeah, I don't know what my weight was. I never actually weighed myself. I do know at one point at my absolute heaviest, I got up to about 20 stone. So yeah, I actually ended up being up and down on them because you have to wean yourself off. So I was up and down on them where I kept flaring up for almost a year, pretty much on and off. On steroids for a year. Piled on the weight. Partly because that's one of the side effects of steroids. Partly because I comfort ate. Again, it was a comfort eating. The steroids mess with your head as well. It's not just the physical symptoms. Sorry about that, someone just phoned me. Yeah, they really mess with your head as well. And it's just, it's horrendous. The best way I can describe it was, it felt as though someone had taken me, as in me, nice me, everyday me, who everyone knows, and locked her in a cage in the back of my mind. And in my head it was over here. This is where I was. And there was an evil clone that had replaced me. And I was just trapped in this cage going, oh my God, will someone please hear me screaming? Please hear me, just let me out of this cage. And I couldn't. And this evil clone was just, she was horrible. She was a bitch. She was evil. She would get nasty and personal to try and push people away. And the rage, I have never felt anything like it. I would just feel so much rage. But yeah, so because of that, people just gave me what I wanted. Not all the time, obviously. If it was, you know, I don't know, if it wasn't appropriate, then I didn't get it. But they usually got their head bitten off. But like, yeah, so like people never argued with me if I was shoveling shit in my face, basically. Piled on and piled on and piled on the weight. Eventually got off the steroids and lost sort of a good 3 stone just by coming off steroids, which was pretty good. We're quite happy with that. And yeah, so then I lost the 3 stone and I was like, oh, okay, I've lost a little bit of weight. Got down to sort of about a size 16. And I was a pretty solid 16. Occasionally version 18. But I'd never admit that I'd verged on an 18. If it was a case of the 16 didn't fit, then clearly it was the shop. The shop was awful. It wasn't my fault, it was the shop. The shop came up small, not me. Yeah, it's a bad attitude to have. But anyway, so then I was engaged, I was getting married, and everyone kept saying to me, oh, you're going to lose weight for your wedding, you're going to lose weight for your wedding. And I was like, I did Weight Watchers. And that didn't work. That didn't work for me. I'm not saying it won't work for other people. I know plenty of people that have done brilliantly on it, but for me, it didn't work. I just sort of made a decision. I tried eating healthily. I had no willpower. So I just kind of made the decision that actually, do you know what? I'm happy with my body. I made myself be happy with my body. And so, yeah, so I got my dress. It was a slightly bigger dress. Because I thought, well, you know, all right, I'll try and lose a little bit for the wedding. Half-assed it a bit. And then like, oh, but if I end up on steroids, I'm going to need the bigger dress anyway. So I might as well just stay the bigger size so the dress fits. Yeah, I got to about 9 weeks before my wedding and my dress didn't fit. I'd put on a couple of stone. No, I don't have I put on about a stone. I needed to lose about half a stone to get the dress up. I was sort of, I was stood in my mum's bedroom and we got the dress up, but I was literally, I couldn't breathe in it. It was horrendous. The zip was going to pop. Why I went for a zip back, I will never know. But hey, hey. The dress was gorgeous. The dress was beautiful. But yeah, everyone had kind of said to me, oh, so you're going to lose weight for your wedding? You're going to lose weight for the wedding? And I'm like, well, no. Because why should I? It's only one day, and if you don't love me the way I am, I don't want you at my wedding. That was my attitude. I was happy with my weight. I'd convinced myself I was happy the way I was. I had these sexy curves, and so yeah, I got to about 9 weeks before the wedding, dress didn't fit, so I did the stupid thing and did Slim Fast. And yeah, it worked. I got into on my wedding day, I got into my dress. It worked, I'm not gonna lie. 2 weeks later when I came back off honeymoon, I don't think that dress would have done up, because I literally piled back on everything and then some on my honeymoon that I'd lost with this Slim Fast. Yeah. Oh well. So yeah, Slim Fast is not something I'd recommend for long-term weight loss. If it's a case of, oh, I need to shift sort of half a stone to get into an outfit, then yeah, fine, go for it. But it's not long term. So yeah, I had my wedding day. I was happy. Convinced myself I was happy. Went on honeymoon, had a beautiful time. It was amazing. Loved all the pictures. I then got my wedding pictures back, and I wasn't overly happy with them. Half the problem was, one of the ways I'd convinced myself I was happy with the way I looked was because I'd got clever with camera angles. Most pictures of me that exist, I've taken or I've posed properly for, and it's been how I've stood, how I've presented myself. So I got very, very good with camera angles and knowing if I stand a certain way, I'll look slimmer. If I hold my head a certain way, if I look a certain way. Like, for example, I never ever did I'd always lift my chin up to get my grid of my double chin. Which is still there, but it's not nearly as bad as it used to be. But yeah, I'd sort of hold myself a certain way. So for example, and even now in selfies I still do it naturally, I always go to the side. Like that. And chin up and nose up, and yeah, I just try and keep that skinny look. But the wedding photos came back, and obviously everybody's taking photos of you on your wedding day. Everybody. So all these guest photos were coming back. The professional photos came back, and yeah, I wasn't happy. Don't get me wrong, the photos were stunning. The actual way the photos were taken and all the other people, everyone else looked gorgeous, and I just wasn't happy with the way I looked. So, but I thought, oh well, move on. Just, it's done, you got married. When it came to my wedding, I was very chilled out, laid back. I wasn't like, oh my god, the napkins don't match the chair sashes. People were quite shocked how chilled out I was over my wedding. I was very much like, so long as I had my church with my man, and then afterwards I just wanted a bit of food and a disco. That's all I wanted. Nothing else. And that's what I got. I got my church, I got my man, I got my food, I got my disco. We had a brilliant day. It was amazing. And yeah, I've completely lost my train of thought here. Oh dear. But, oh yeah. So after my wedding I was like, yep, we're married now. Brilliant. That's all I wanted. Onwards and upwards with life. Cut to last Christmas. My dad's stepdad passed away, which he was in pretty poor health anyway. We knew he wasn't going to be around for much longer, so oh, I've got a fly. Yeah, we knew he wasn't going to be around for much longer anyway. But it was quite a sudden, 2 days before Christmas. Yeah. not great that he passed away in his sleep. And then in the week between Christmas and New Year's, my granddad's, my biological granddad, not my step granddad, had to have a, was it triple or quadruple? He had to have a heart bypass, multiple heart bypass. And yeah, he doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, you know, but he also doesn't eat particularly great and does very little exercise. So, and that scared me because I could start seeing signs that my health was suffering because of my weight. I've got a pair of black knee-high boots. I adore them. They're amazing. They're the best boots ever. I'd get out of breath putting them on. Really? Out of breath putting on boots. They weren't even that hard. They were literally slip on, zip up. Ugh. And that's when I said to myself, how did I let myself get this bad? Even when I was on steroids, I still had the energy. I could still do stuff. So, yeah. And the other thing was my husband, he'd piled on weight with me. He'd lost, when I first met him, he was pretty big. He lost a load of weight because I taught him about portion control, and I taught him about, and like, he started working in a very manual job. He worked on the fruit and veg department at Tesco's, so he was lifting fruit and veg all the time, and he lost loads of weight, and his slowly crept back on, and his snoring had got really, really bad again, to the point where I was going 2-3 nights a week where I just wasn't sleeping because it was that bad. So I said to him, look, we're going to Slimming World. You're coming with me. You are coming with me because you need to get this sorted. So yeah, we walked in to our very first session, and yeah, the rest, as they say, is history. So I was really shocked that we stuck it out with Slimming World, because I'm not going to lie, I walked through the door thinking, yeah, right, whatever. I was more going to support my husband, because I thought, well, if I'm in bad health, he's got to be in worse health. So I more went to support him because he was quite openly unhappy. I was still in the I was happy, but he was quite openly unhappy about his weight. So yeah, so I kind of went with him to support him, thinking, yeah, we'll probably do it for like 2 months and then give up and not go back. But we walked in, we found out about the plan, and the weight was just dropping off. And we're like, okay, this is actually working. I'm actually enjoying coming to group. I love going to group. I think I've had 2 weeks where I couldn't either make it to group or stay to group. I had 1 week where I had staff meetings and whatnot, and so I went and weighed in the following day in one of the villages on the way home from work, and then I had another week where we were going out somewhere that night, so we were literally weigh and go, and I hated it. I really hated it. I really wanted to stay to group. I love staying to group. Probably because I'm really nosy. Like, really nosy. I like to know how people are doing. But hey ho. So yes. I mean, don't get me wrong. We've had weeks where we've had a little gain here and there. So £0.5 pound. This week I wasn't happy. I put on £2. I was not impressed. Because we'd had our 3-course meal with my mother-in-law, that my husband had done the starter, my brother-in-law did the mains, and I did the pudding. So the starter was sin-free because husband did it, and he's like, I ain't wasting sins on a starter. Stuffed mushrooms, let's go. I was like, yeah, whatever, I'll do the 8-sin lemon drizzle cake, knowing they'll just literally cut it into 6 because that's movers. So I was like, so, you know, 1.5 sins a slice, a little bit of ice cream. So a little bit. I started off with a little bit. They then piled more on. I tried to say no. They weren't having it. And then my brother-in-law made a sausage and cranberry stew, which was lovely, don't get me wrong, but obviously cranberries, dried fruit, sinned, cooked fruit, sinned. So we had to sin the cranberries. I don't know how many sins there are. I didn't even bother to look it up. I thought, no, I'm just going to sort of go, not off plan, but not on plan. Make good choices, but not necessarily count it. And then the sausages he used, I thought, oh, maybe sort of 4 or 5 sins of sausage. There were 7. And I had 3 of them. Oh, no. So I'd blown my sins with just sausages. So yeah, I put on. Oh well, this week has been a much better week though. So yeah, so this is going to be a bit of a long rambly video, so I'm going to end this one here. Probably going to film another one about something else, so you'll probably have 2 videos go up within very short succession of each other. Maybe do one today, one tomorrow. Yay! So anyway, I shall leave it there, and I shall see you all soon.